Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to the National League. Matthias still actually rejected Man United to join Tottenham Hotspur. It's just announced now, actually, while we're doing the intro. And also 3 minutes ago, while we were doing the intro as well, Nico Gonzales to Manchester City done. The midfielder joined from Porto. So Manchester City threw more money at the problems trying to fix. Is he going to be the guy to actually reverse the 5-1 from Arsenal that happened yesterday? We'll actually know about that as well. A humbling yesterday for Erling Haaland and Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. We'll talk about that as well. Arsenal now need to go and do the business. A lot of ITK are actually putting eyes out on Twitter. I know Rory is not an ITK. He's not an ITK. But there are a lot of ITKs from Arsenal that know and keep saying that Arsenal will sign someone in the next hours. The other news is that Chelsea blocked Disasi to Aston Villa completely. They said he's not going. And Chelsea now are looking to get a forward in and a midfielder. Nico O'Reilly. Manchester City might now let go of Nico O'Reilly to Chelsea in the next hours. We know that what's going to happen. We'll see what happens. But we'll talk about the game. But of course, Tom Little is going to be here. He's actually alive. He had just responded to my messages and he said, I'm alive. I'll join the show in a bit. How's everyone doing? Rory, what's it?
Very well, thank you.
I'm good. I'm a bit annoyed now.
What is that energy, bro?
Well, I'm a bit annoyed about Tell going to Tottenham on a straight loan because I don't really know why Arsenal. Because it's a straight. I understood Arsenal not doing it when the idea was that Bayern wouldn't let him go without there being a buy obligation, but now there's not, and Arsenal haven't done anything about it. So now I'm a bit annoyed.
I honestly reckon you're dodging like a player there, Rory, that you don't want at the club. I think Tell just feels like he wants to go somewhere where he's guaranteed game time. He doesn't want to fight for his place.
Well, he does. Yeah, he does want that. But like, I wouldn't have minded that just for once he's at the club, I couldn't really care less what he wants. But having the option there would have at least been better than not having.
Yeah, but you know, like you're in a position where you're pushing for a title. That's the sort of player that I think Arteta talks about characters in his dressing room, and he spoke about the kids and how they fitted in perfectly, like Wanyeri and MLS. I just don't feel like Tell ticks all the boxes. I feel like if you're his age and you don't want to fight for a place, something about you isn't right if you're going to go and play at like Bayern Munich or the top clubs. Like he either rates himself far too highly or just isn't hungry enough to fight. I probably seriously
he wasn't perfect,
rather nothing than have him.
So that's where I differ, just purely on the basis that we just don't have enough players, like attacking wise. I know like Arteta's happy with Havertz and whatever, but like we're in a very precarious position. Saka's not going to be back until the end of March. We're in a very precarious position for a couple of months now, where like any more injuries in the attack, and we don't have anything. So that's the only reason I'm, a bit annoyed. But
to be fair, it's not like he doesn't have competition at Spurs. Actually, just thinking about it off the top of my head, like there's a few players in his way to even get guaranteed minutes there. So I don't know. I have to see how he does in the Prem. I hear you. I feel like going forward, Tails going Spurs, unless you missed it. Tails going Spurs.
No, I mean, who's his competition? Timo Werner.
Oh, well.
Richarlison.
Okay, yeah, Werner,
Other Bears.
Okay, no, I'm not saying that they're better than him or what. I don't really know yet. I don't know how Tell is going to perform in the Prem, but there are bodies in the way in terms of there are other people that are going to be expecting minutes as well at Tottenham that Ange will either have them fall down to injury or they'll request minutes. Son, Odegaard, I mean, striker as well, Richarlison.
Realistically, I just see him either committing Kulusevski full time to midfield and then having Tell as a striker or off the right, or having Son relegated to bit part player and run Tell, Solanke, Kulusevski. The fact is, they wanted to pay 60 million quid for him, so they clearly rate him to a certain degree, so they're going to play him. Therefore, you're going to have to factor that side of it in. He's not what Tottenham needed, if you ask me.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Completely agree.
I think Tottenham. There's a real fullback depth problem. I know that Jed Spencer's done well, but let's say Porro can't play. Jed Spencer's got to play two positions. Or they play Ben Davies, who I don't think has played fullback minutes at any point. Like, ultimately with Tottenham, to be fair, nothing's going to change at Tottenham until they get rid of the manager. They could have a very good squad, but nothing will change until they get rid of the manager. So there's not really too much there. It's just, I'm shocked at being cooked like that and going back in for him after he turned them down. It's not a very big club move there.
What I don't understand is why Arsenal haven't, like, as Rory said, I'm really surprised. It's just a straight loan. There's no money involved. The guy's not making a lot of money. And I'm like, I don't understand why. Why didn't Arsenal buy in this guy? Like, why didn't Arsenal in for this guy?
Tell rejected a permanent move to Tottenham because at the time, the only deal on the table was a permanent move. And he doesn't want to play for Tottenham for like, permanently. So I think he's accepted a straight loan for 5 months because he can get game time in the Premier League. But yeah, like you said, why Arsenal haven't gone for it, I don't know. And it doesn't look like we're doing anything else. It's not like we've not gone for that so that we can pursue a different option, which is just...
Arsenal taking a big gamble on the fitness of their forwards, which...
That's what I'm saying. It's not about whether or not... it's not about needing... I think actually our attacking players who have played well over the last few weeks, it's... For me, the concern is...
It's about protecting the health rather than
minutes.
perform.
Yeah, like Havertz has a ridiculous number of minutes and kilometers run already this season, and there's no one to take the pressure off that now.
And the problem is that it starts what's a vicious cycle. So you have your full starting 11, or you'd have your full attacking depth, should I say, and then 2 get injured. So you still got a decent starting set of attackers. Because not everyone's injured. So you can still do Martinelli, Trossard, Havertz, I'm just going to say. Still do that. But what happens then is that for the 3 months minimum that the other two are out, Havertz, Martinelli, Trossard are playing pretty much every single minute of every single game, regardless of if it's big or not. Therefore, when you get to the back end of the season, what happens is you have players coming back from long injury layoffs who need 3 to 4 games to get back up to speed, combined with 3 other players who've played the equivalent of minutes of 50-odd games in a season, who are now blowing out their arse and needing the rest. You put the two of them together, it's typically not a good recipe for an attacking line to end the season, because it's exactly what happened to us, and it happened to who did it happen to a couple of years before that? Tottenham, when Son got injured and Kane was just the only forward that they had, and by the end of the season he was blown out his arse. This is the same thing that I worry could happen to Arsenal, because Kai Havertz has no depth.
Yeah.
Left wing Martinelli and Trossard, but right wing Maneri has no depth. So Martinelli's ended up playing two positions. It's a very sort of weird one. Yeah. I don't know why Arsenal haven't made that move.
Before we go on and talk about the transfers, guys, we have over 300 people here. We're only in the first 10 minutes, so hit that like button, people. Guys, let's get to 200 likes live in this show before we go on and talk about... I want to talk actually about the game yesterday. I'm so intrigued to hear everyone's opinion about the game yesterday, to be honest. Is that a statement to win for Arsenal, telling Liverpool that we're not going anywhere? Or that was just because Man City were so bad, Arsenal won?
I think it's a bit of both.
Sorry, Rory, you go.
Yeah, I think yesterday didn't make him... Winning yesterday didn't, I don't think, make much of a difference to the title race. Drawing or losing yesterday would have made a massive difference to the title race. I think that's the thing here. Look, as it's we end the weekend the same way we started the weekend in the context of the title race. I would argue actually Bournemouth away was a more difficult game for Liverpool than Man City at home was for us, which says a lot, I think, about the state of City at the moment. But truthfully, it wasn't a difficult game for Arsenal yesterday, and I've been at every game this season, and I've witnessed a fair number of teams give us a much more difficult game than that. So yeah, I don't think it makes a massive difference, but it could have made a massive difference if we'd drawn or lost, because that really would have been.
Would you have rather 1-1, so Arsenal will have to dip in the market, or the 5-1 is good?
I don't think it made a difference to the market. I don't think we.
If Arsenal wanted to make a move, yesterday's result wouldn't have affected that in any way.
The only, if we'd lost, it might have done, because the club might have started bricking it about top four race, and they might have gone, okay, well, but as it is, yeah,
any form of win wouldn't have changed it then.
Yeah.
Why you have this feeling that this would have changed how Arsenal look at the market?
I don't think it would have. Because
why do people keep saying if Arsenal would have done yesterday? Yesterday, like, if Arsenal would have done something, they would have done it by now. Well, if Man City wanted to sign a midfielder, they would have signed it before yesterday. It doesn't work like this. The transfer market doesn't work like this.
Yeah, but Man City aren't buying Gonzales, Mo, because they lost yesterday.
But Man City bought Gonzales because they were chasing Douglas Luiz and it fell apart. And they were asking for Ederson from Atalanta. But the same situation for Arsenal, right? Arsenal were asking for Cisco the whole window, trying to convince
Arsenal to sell him. But Arsenal are in a position where, or are in a position of strength, should I say, where they aren't needing a third or fourth choice option. So City need a midfielder. It doesn't matter what midfielder it is. Manchester City need a midfielder.
And Arsenal need a striker.
But we don't, because we've got Havertz who's on 15 goals this season. Like, we don't.
But that's not your opinion. I know
they
that's
scored 5 goals yesterday. Like, they're chipping in with goals from everywhere.
No, but it's
we're changing the narrative now.
No, Mo, you've got to look at the
I'm getting it wrong. Maybe I'm getting it wrong.
You've got to look at a club like Arsenal and their recruitment strategy. Arsenal Football Club and the way that they are trying to run as a model cannot bring in a third or fourth choice option, have it not work out, and then get rid of them 6 months later. If Arsenal go and buy a striker, they will stick by that striker for at least 2 years. Hence why Jesus is still at that football club, even though for the past 16 to 18 months, most people would say it's about time for him to go. Arsenal have grown beyond him, but with the way Arsenal want to operate, that's not the case. So, if Arsenal want to buy, they went for Sesko, who is obviously first choice. Well, Isak's first choice, can't get him. Sesko is a good second option, they can't get him. They don't want to go down to third or fourth choice because they don't feel that they have the quality levels to match the other two, which is understandable because they have an option there already in Havertz, who they believe is good enough. So then you look at City. Look at the position Manchester City are in. Their first option at the minute is Kovacic. Fucking hell, you can improve on that. It doesn't take a lot to improve on that either, because he's not a DM. So they go for Douglas Luiz. Can't get him. Then they move down the list for Ederson, still better, can't get him. Then they go down the list for a third time, for example, can't get him. But all these options are still better than what they currently have as an option in Kovacic or Gundogan. So they can keep moving down that list and see a marketable improvement. Is Matthias Tell?
Can I stop you? Can I stop you? I just can I have an interjection, just a small one. Mm-hmm. You said that Kovacic is not a DM. Do you consider Havertz as a striker?
Yes.
Okay. So just we agree on terms.
So
that we agree. So because I don't consider Havertz as a number 9, the Arsenal. He's not a number 9. He's a false 9. He's a playmaker. He's someone that gets late in the 18. That's how he played at Leverkusen. Chelsea used him wrong as a number 9 because Lukaku didn't work. We know that, right? Because if Lukaku worked, Havertz would have never been the number 9 to play there. It's the same for Kovacic. It's the same exact situation for Kovacic. Kovacic is a midfielder being used as a DM because they don't have a DM. Kai Havertz is a striker because they don't have a striker. Am I wrong here?
But they did have a strike. They had Jesus has been fit for the last 12 months, and yet Mikel Arteta chose to play Havertz as a striker.
And we criticize that. What are we going here?
Okay, so some people in the chat have confused. It's not my opinion that Arsenal don't need a striker. It's the football club's opinion that Arsenal don't need a striker, right? So let's clear that up. I've been consistent that I think we need to bring someone in. We started the stream with me saying I think we needed to bring Tell in. The point is, like Tom was saying, the club are looking at it from the perspective of we cannot afford to get this wrong. In the same way that people talk about, maybe it was wrong to spend 65 million on Havertz. We're not Man City. We can't afford to just go for an alternative and spend the money now. And relative to Man City's requirement for a midfielder right now, Arsenal's requirement for a starting striker is not there right now because the club look at Kai Havertz, who scored 15 goals this season, and they say that's enough right now. The other thing is that people look at the Jesus injury and say, well, you have to go out and replace him. The club look at the Jesus injury and say, we now have an attacking player on 265 grand a week who is going to be at the club at the start of next season because he's got an ACL injury that's going to rule him out until next Christmas. So we now can't go and get that attacking player off the books, which means we're probably limited to only bringing in one attacking player in the span of 2025. And if you're going to do that, you're going to make sure it's the one that you want, not the panic option in January. So again, like I'm speaking from the perspective.
If Jesus hadn't got injured, you might have seen Arsenal take a gamble this window.
Yeah,
and it sounds counterintuitive. They've lost a guy, so why would they not take the gamble now? It's because football clubs don't look at it in the short term. In the short term, most Arsenal fans will be sitting there going, Jesus is injured. We've only got one fit striker. Go for that striker. Arsenal looking at it in the case of because Jesus will be at the football club at least until he won't go in the January either because he won't play much and then clubs won't take the gamble. So Jesus is probably going to be there until the summer of 2026.
Yeah.
At that point, Arsenal are tied. How much are they on 250 grand a week?
265. Second highest paid player at the club.
Arsenal cannot do anything with that. That is money that is just locked away that they can't access. Therefore, they take that gamble now. They're not only they locked in with the Jesus wages, which probably would have been spent on the starting level striker. They waste the transfer fee and such. Bear in mind, they're not getting a transfer fee for Jesus now, which probably would have went a long way to supplementing the transfer fee for a striker. They can't justify a gamble and a starter now. They don't have the financial means to do it, alongside addressing other positions that are going to need to be addressed in the summer. So they have to take a step back and go, can we get away with it? Can we get away?
What does that mean, get away with it? What does that mean, get away with it?
Can they get through the rest of the season? Can they get through to March?
Can you define
Can they get through to March without losing every single game with the forward options that they have
until Saka's back? You mean?
Yes, that'll be where they're looking at. Can we get back? Can we get to the point where Saka is back fit without our season having fallen apart with the forward options that we've got?
Would you have said the same if Arsenal didn't win yesterday?
Yes.
Just going back to the original question just for a moment and trying to pivot it to the game. Is this like a set? I think you said, Mo, does this send a message or something?
Yes.
I think if it was another season, it definitely would. But I think that, you know, with this result wasn't really a surprise to most people. You know, there was like a reason why I predicted us to lose relatively comfortably before a ball was kicked. You know, this is a City side that's lost, you know, 4-0 against Spurs and got humbled by Liverpool. That was like absolutely dominated. Many other instances. City's biggest issues are, of course, in terms of like the midfield. Arsenal have one of the best midfields in the Premier League. In terms of like the high press as well. And we've got players like Ødegaard and Rice who can contribute really well to that. It meant that it was going to be very difficult for City to build up well, and we couldn't because, you know, and you couple that with the fact that we didn't even have Ederson in goal. It was Ortega, so it meant that just the general build up when you've got like, you know, Núñez and Akanji and Ortega trying to build up, you don't really have a hope there. And then your midfield is Bernardo and Kovacic, and they're up against, you know, it just Declan Rice on his own would have been enough to win that midfield battle. That's why I was so confident that we were going to lose, and that was the case. We didn't even have the outlet in terms of like the long balls to Haaland because Ortega just couldn't find him, sadly. I think Haaland was only able to contest like 2 aerial duels or something. I think at Chelsea it was around 6 or 7, something like that. That's how we got a lot of joy. So we weren't even able to find him in those areas. I think it was just a surprise for me that it took Arsenal until like around the 60th, 70th minute, whenever it was, to properly, you know, win the game. Because somehow up until that point, it was a relatively even-ish affair. But the end outcome is what I mean, to be fair, I didn't predict 5-1, but I did predict a relatively comfortable victory. So it doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you. It's obviously a fantastic result for Arsenal. They deserve to win, definitely. I just don't know if it sends a message in terms of like, I don't know, like a changing of the guard of like, we're now better than you fundamentally. Do you know what I mean? Because City
I don't actually think
all season, been battered all season. Does that make sense?
Sorry, Mo, you can
Can I say something? Yeah, can I say something? It's before Rory goes. Wallahi, after the game yesterday, I kind of changed my opinion a little bit. And this is a little bit about Arsenal and Arteta. I swear to God, I was standing in the balcony here and I kept thinking about the game. And I'm like, I keep slagging off Arteta and say he hasn't won anything, which is true. And he has to win the league or the Champions League. But the reason why I say it's a statement win, because for you to go into the game without your best player, Bukayo Saka, with a kid like Luis Kelly, with Nwaneri on the bench, with Jesus injured, switching Trossard and Martinelli within the game, and smash Man City, as bad as Man City are, no one can sit here and say, I will win against Man City 5-1. I will dominate Man City tactically in the game. I will completely, even after 1-1, I will go back to the game and I will win 5-1. And I'm like, this guy really has a plan. This guy, Arteta, is not a naive guy. He has a plan. It's a statement win not only for Arsenal to Liverpool, because Liverpool will win the league. I think Liverpool are too strong for Arsenal to them to catch them. I believe so. But it's a statement win of them like, we're still here. We're not finished as a team. We have a plan. We're doing good. We're playing good football.
Has anyone been suggesting that?
Yes.
Has anyone on this panel been suggesting that?
Including myself. Yes.
Oh, well, that's you. You're a fraud.
I think Tom as well. Me and Tom had this talk before. Maybe Tom can correct me. Does
Tom think Arsenal's going to finish lower than second?
No, it's not second. It's like, is second good enough? Is this team good enough to win? That is the question. A win yesterday against City.
Win what?
Yes.
The league?
The league. This next season, or even try to push Liverpool this season.
I don't think yesterday's match.
You don't think that yesterday's tactical master plan by Arteta is sending a message that I can coach a team to win against the biggest in the world, even in the Champions League?
What do you mean by tactical master plan? Because Spurs beat us 4-0. I'm not necessarily disagreeing. Be more specific. What do you mean by tactical master plan specifically?
I think Spurs beat Man City because Man City were so bad. I think Arsenal beat City yesterday because Arsenal was too good for City.
But you said tactical master plan. What do you mean?
He shut down every avenue you have apart from that goal that was a cross that happened. I think he managed the game in phases in this game. He pressed when he needed to press. He sat back when he needed to sit back. He actually was passing the ball from the back when he needed to. He bypassed City's press when he needed to. He went long and direct when he needed to. That is what I mean by that. When I was watching the game, I'm like, I'm enjoying this Arsenal tactics. I'm enjoying how they play.
Everything you've described there is pretty standard of how you beat City this season. I don't think there was a big brain moment. It was very obvious that City aren't going to be able to build out from the back, so just press them high with Declan Rice. Their midfield aren't physical enough, so just start Declan Rice and Partey or whatever. I don't think that's, again, it's not, I'm not, sorry, apologies if it sounds like I'm taking it away, because again, they deserve to win, definitely. But there's a reason why I predicted a comfortable Arsenal victory. It's because anyone predicting anything else is foolish.
Maybe your brain is better than everyone, but everyone, by the way, the majority...
No, it's just obvious. Like, I watched the Anfield game, for example.
And that's why you're different. No,
which was actually an even worse City performance in a way.
The majority of the pundits and everyone that done YouTube, and a lot of people, I'm not going to say everyone, but 90% of the people I done shows with, and I know that Tom does shows with Hussam, Rory does shows with other people, predicted a draw. He said that Arsenal...
I have no idea where they got a draw from. That was always going to be a comfortable victory.
We said it on here on...
One said that it's going to be a draw.
We said on here on Monday, didn't we?
On El Ahwa, I said I predicted Arsenal win because I consider Arsenal at home. I don't think City can match them. Everyone said, no, we see a draw. We see Pep going to Arteta. He's the student.
Well, those people have clearly not watched enough City this season, then, have they? That's my only conclusion there.
I was on the football terrace. I think we did like this question, and everyone said it's a draw. We don't see Arsenal winning.
We said on Friday, didn't we, that people had very quickly changed their opinion on City off the back of a few decent results this month.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I said I didn't think City had particularly improved. I thought Maresca got it completely wrong in the Chelsea game.
I agree.
And that the midfield was still a big problem. So look, but there were a lot of voices that thought City were back. I think the main voices that should have been silenced by this are the people that, despite Arsenal's injuries and despite some of those crazy decisions that have gone against us, that had been, in spite of that, saying that, clearly Arsenal under Arteta had peaked and that clearly, we'd reached the best we were, and we're a worse team and we've regressed and all of that stuff. And I always felt that was harsh. And I think, yesterday was a good performance that proved that even, without Saka and whatever, we are a decent team. And I thought yesterday, not bizarrely, but I didn't think we were that brilliant yesterday. I actually thought the performance was good and there were individual performances that were great, but I was a bit disappointed in the way that we went 1-0 up and then a little bit like Chelsea kind of began to sit off in the first half. We needed Raya to pull off 2 big saves to keep it to 1-0 at half-time, let City back into it at 1-1. I was actually a bit disappointed with that. And I thought we could have really put our foot on City's throat a lot more in the first half and put them under more pressure. So, no, it was a great win. And obviously, for Arsenal fans, we couldn't really have asked for much more from yesterday. But, yeah, it was, City are poor.
So, okay, can I ask the question to Tom? Okay,
let me do the story of our season.
Let me do the super chats because some of them are addressing different stuff. Big up. Why would Till leave Bayern to sit on Arsenal bench?
That's a fair point.
Why would he sit on Arsenal bench? They have Martinelli and Trossard. Why do people assume that
he would name why he would sit on the Arsenal bench? Because they've got Martinelli and Trossard in his position.
Other than Declan Rice, Arteta has never immediately played a new signing. Declan Rice is the only new signing really that's ever come in and immediately started games.
Well,
I think, given that we have Trossard and Martinelli and Waneri, and realistically, if you're going to give minutes to a youngster, it's probably going to be the Hale End one, not the Bayern player that's going to go back to Bayern at the end of the season. I think by the time Tell had settled in and the time Arteta had begun to trust him, we'd have been reaching end stage of the season. And then, so is he going to start Tell in Champions League knockout games? No. Is he going to start Tell in Premier League games that we have to win? No. And so I think, maybe Tell
would Tell start when Saka's back?
No.
Because he just moves further down the pecking order. So by the time that Tell would be in Arteta's good books, Saka's back fit, he's just further down the list.
You guys solved the mystery why Tell didn't join Arsenal Football Club. Wasn't it reported that Bayern rejected United's loan offer because it didn't include an obligation to buy, but now they're just accepting a straight loan from Spurs without an obligation to buy? Ryan, I'm just going to tell you something. Yesterday, it was reported that he didn't want to join Spurs at all, and he wants to join Man United. Today, Spurs got the least of the options, which is a loan with just an option to buy, which doesn't put any pressure on them, and they accepted. There is something that happened that is wrong about this Matthias Tel thing, but it's not normal, Rory. How is he said yesterday? I don't want to join Spurs. It's only Arsenal and Man United, and today he's like, yeah, and loan with no obligation to buy nothing.
So this is how it's worked. The original offer for Tel that was accepted by Bayern was a permanent deal. Tel didn't want to move to Bayern permanently, so he rejected it. It then came back in yesterday, and Bayern was still holding out yesterday for a deal that involved a buy obligation or a permanent sale. That wasn't happening. It was always going to be the case, in my opinion, that on deadline day, Bayern would back down from demanding an obligation to buy. Because ultimately, if Bayern's plan is still to sell Tel in the summer, then he is still better off going on a loan somewhere where he's going to play rather than continuing to sit on Bayern's bench. You want to go and put him in the shop window. So I always felt, and that was why I was still kind of confident that Arsenal might get it done. I always felt Bayern would back down and would accept a straight loan. And so I think that they've accepted that.
Yeah.
And then Tel has an option between United and Spurs, potentially. And
But comparing Foden to Saka has always been insulting to Saka. Saka was carrying Arsenal at the age of 19. Foden has to be carried and catered to GG. I don't know. Glory, Arsenal. What?
Most protected player in the Premier League, Phil Foden.
If I say what I have to say, I'll be damned.
He is the most protected player in the Premier League. Yesterday, he gave the ball away for our second goal. Worst time you could possibly do it. And they were trying to analyze whether or not it was the referee's fault for standing in the way. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I saw that video.
Can you imagine trying to justify it and come up with an excuse for just an awfully misplaced pass? Like, yeah, I think he's very, very protected.
All right. Hit the like button, people. Come on, let's get to 200 likes. There's 600 people in the house. We're not even on 200 likes. All these guys' channels. Rory Talks Football. Also, Rory Talks Football on TikTok and Instagram. Nobbins as well. He's done brilliant shows yesterday. And Dan as well. So Tom Little, who was never on his channel. So subscribe to Tom as well. Going back to the game. Nobbins. Hello.
I lost my question.
What is your question? What do you want to say?
You said you were going to ask me the question after the super chat. And then
hold that, Tom. Hold that. Nice, okay. Forgotten now. Could have been important. Come on, Mo.
I completely forgot. What were we talking about?
Don't worry about it. No, because you'll forget your question to me now.
I don't want to forget the question.
I assume you were going to ask me something about like how do you think that Arsenal win is a statement or something? Because that was what the whole topic.
You are so condescending to Arsenal. It's unfucking believable. Like you really don't rate them. Yes, always.
I'm just not looking at that result as with the same point of view.
When was the last time you won 5-1 against City?
Okay, if we're trying to compare performances, Liverpool are a lot better than Arsenal. What are we doing?
I think my 2-0 early this season was better than their 5-1.
It was a much more dominating performance. Yes, that is correct. I'm not going to fall victim to outcome bias.
Arsenal scored 5 goals off 1 XG yesterday. Half of them were fucking deflected.
That XG was bullshit yesterday. Kai Havertz had
don't agree with the
open net.
Kai Havertz laid it off to Ødegaard for an open goal, and then had his own open goal, and somehow we supposedly only had 1 XG, and then we scored 4 other goals.
Yeah, Arsenal were very, very clinical. But yeah, the XG is. I don't agree with the XG. Yeah, but yeah, Tom's spot on. Like the sense of despair. There was a sense of despair at Anfield. It was just like I was. It was like I was just watching. I don't know, like a lamb getting. I don't even know what Insert butcher analogy here.
I don't look at City this year with the same fear. The fear factor in City's gone. The City have become an everyone eats team except Chelsea. Everyone except Chelsea wins.
And that was only because they made a mistake in terms of how they set up against us. That's the only reason why. We were
Tottenham,
not. Yeah.
16th in the league. But yesterday, won against City. Manchester United, the worst Manchester United team in the history of going to their own manager, beat them. Brighton, who want their manager sacked, who lost 7-0 at the weekend, beat them. Every team in the Big Six, bar Chelsea, has beaten Man City this season. To varying degrees of dominance, to varying degrees of goal scoring. This is not a City team to be feared. This is not a City team that I look at with the same worry and the same panic that I do the City teams in the past. This is a City team with a glaringly big weakness that pretty much every single team in the league is set up to exploit. Now, I know they've just agreed to deal with this Nico Gonzales. He will help. He will not fix the problems. He will help reduce the problems, but he will not fix the problems. Look at that midfield yesterday. You put physically dominant people in the midfield, and Manchester City got bullied for 90 minutes in the middle of the park. For 90 minutes in the middle of the park, they didn't win a duel. They didn't win a fucking tackle. Any pass that was a little bit wayward, intercepted. Most teams in the Premier League can out-physical that Manchester City midfield. If they can out-physical that Manchester City midfield, they will dominate that Manchester City midfield.
I think just all of them can.
So Liverpool played against City when they were coming from a 6-game winless streak, when they only drew one, and Man City and Arsenal played Man City when they're coming from a 10-game when they lost to 1 game against PSG. But
what? So you're telling me in Man City's last 10 games they only lost one?
Yes, against PSG. Yes.
And that was fucking embarrassing, by the way. We were 2-0 up.
I just wouldn't count. But yes, Liverpool played City when they were tougher, when they're coming from a 6-game winner. That's the agenda. That's a problem, you know. City had momentum in this game. City came to this game with momentum.
I would argue the team that we had to go against was tougher than the City team that Arsenal had to go against, though.
Really?
You can apply as much context as you want. The fact is, if you want to compare who dicked down City more so, it was Liverpool. If that's the game you want to play.
Okay.
Mo, we had the near 4 XG against them.
You could then make the argument, would Liverpool have done that without Salah and without Salah's backup and with 2 academy players? But, you know, I don't think it matters, ultimately. I think Arsenal will probably...
It doesn't matter. I don't know why. It doesn't matter.
We
got
played
picked either way.
We played 2 academy players that day, Trent and Conser. So we're all good.
Well, I meant like players that are fresh out of the academy, not on the way to Real Madrid. But for me, I feel like it's... Arsenal will be happy now to just sit on the tail of Liverpool, I think. I think the next couple of games we've got, Leicester, West Ham, should be comfortable wins. Liverpool have got to go away to Goodison Park. Tough game, final Merseyside derby under the lights. You know, I think Arsenal will now be happy to just sit there waiting for Liverpool to hopefully slip up.
This month is going to be a big one. So I realistically, and I know it's going to sound fucking groundbreaking, I want to beat Tottenham on Thursday, but not solely because it takes us to a final. I want to beat them because it then moves the Aston Villa game from March into February. So what it would mean is that in the month of February, I would have to get, I think, 4 of my 5 toughest games left in the season out the way. In Everton away, City away, Villa away, Newcastle at home. 4 out me 5, 6 toughest games I get out the way this month. After that, I've got Southampton at home, Everton at home, Fulham away, West Ham at home, Leicester away for 2 months. If I can get these games out the way now, if I was to have a bit of a wobble against some tough opponents and drop 4 to 6 points, I would still have a lead, but I would then all of a sudden have 2 months where I have winnable games in every single one of them. At the point where Arsenal then have to go into their tougher run, where they have to play, I think you've got to play Nottingham Forest away. You know, I think you've got Chelsea at home. Tougher games for Arsenal will come in after that. Do I think if we got the Villa game moved into this month, would we win the majority of them? I do. I think that right now we're riding a very good wave of momentum. That Bournemouth game was a massive one. You know, that was something that no other big team has done this season. Go to Bournemouth and win.
Chelsea.
I said big team, Mo.
Okay.
It's crazy.
None of the top teams this season have gone to Bournemouth and won.
You're gonna take that down. It's just fine. Tom is not calling you a big team. It's just fucking...
Chelsea is sixth. Chelsea is sixth, man. I'm talking about the teams in the top four.
They'll be fourth by the end of the day. Chill.
So I'm just looking at that. We're riding a good wave of momentum at the minute. We got all the squad fit. I want to play these teams now.
The arrogance.
I agree with that. I just think you'd be better off playing Villa in March, but
I'd rather not, because
won't that be in and around their European games though?
It'd been around our European games.
Yeah, but your European games easier for you than theirs is for them, and they are shit after European games.
But I'm not doing it in the case of, I need to play Villa at their weakest. I want us to play them at our strongest. I think right now we're at our strongest. We've got a fully fit starting 11. We've got a fully fit bench. We're riding a good wave of momentum. I want to box all these games off now in February, so I can go into March and April with a bit of a focus on the Champions League and other competitions, because we should be able to beat the likes of Leicester away with a bit of a rotated squad. I should be able to play Curtis Jones against Leicester. I should be able to play Harvey Elliott against Leicester, Nunes against Leicester, etc. So I want to box off the majority of these tough games now and then see where that leaves us after that. Because if that Villa game gets moved, and at the end of February, after playing City, Everton, Newcastle, Villa, I've got a points gap just as big as it is now. The amount of confidence I've got is sky high.
It's a lot of games, but surprise. Who's the only one who started in the beginning of the season and said that Liverpool have depth now? And then, no, we don't. They basically have two players in every position.
Everyone's got depth when they've got no injuries, though.
You're the only one, Tom, that agreed with me. Every single Liverpool fan, we're the leopard in the tree. We don't have depth. We don't have depth. We are the weakest team in terms of depth. They have two players in every position, including Endo, who's being used now. Yes.
It's almost like a squad that was, when it was absolutely battered by Indians last year, very nearly won the league. If it's not battered by as many injuries, can win the fucking league.
Yeah, surprise. Can I go back to ask Nobbins the question that I wrote it down?
It better be good. I've been waiting for this.
Okay, I had a feeling yesterday after the game that all the signings that you do, including the Nico Gonzales, are not going to have City back. Omar Marmoush, Kozanov, Nico Gonzales, these guys are not the guys to bring City back to be the dominant City next season. Unless you go again and spend 200 million in the summer, which is, I don't think it's going to happen, unless a lot of players leave. That's fine. It's a feeling, Nobbins, that I was watching the game. I'm like, this is a spine that is beaten down. That is, do you want to, like, Bernardo, Kevin De Bruyne is not being used. Phil Foden is not up to his game, up to the level. Kovacic is like, he's good for some phases in the game. Without Rodri, and we don't know what kind of Rodri is going to come back from an ACL. I don't know. I had this feeling that City are not going to be that team that will dominate the league again, because everyone said, City are going to spend a lot of money. They will dominate everybody next season. This is the last chance for Liverpool. Even Hossam said it on the Football Terrace. This is our last chance to win the league.
I'd agree with you if that was the only business we were going to be doing, but that's not the only business we're going to be doing. We will be bringing in an actual right back, because right now, I guess Nunes is our main option at right back. And he's obviously not a right back. So we'll be bringing in a right back. We'll be bringing in at least one more midfielder as well. Again, who will that be specifically? But I'd like it to be someone along the lines of Baleba or someone of his quality, someone of his profile. It doesn't necessarily have to be him, but someone like him. And when you couple that with Rodri returning, you couple that with the Gonzales signing, all of a sudden, I would probably argue that City will have gone from the worst, arguably the worst, or certainly one of the worst midfields in the Premier League from a balance perspective, anyway, to the best. If you got like Rodri, Gonzales, and then
where does Gonzales play? Is he an attacking midfielder or a DM? Because he has a lot of GA though.
No, so he's a 6'8" hybrid, so he can do a bit of both. So he's perfect.
He already has like 9, 11. He has like 12 GA already this season.
He's also very versatile. I think he's actually sometimes played at 10 for Porto this season, but primarily it's in the and for City, it will be in the 8/6, again, depending on whether Rodri plays. But in terms of his attributes, like he does balance Rodri really well. He is sort of exactly what City need in that respect. And if you add another midfielder to that, then that midfield is rebuilt all of a sudden. The defenders we've brought in are young, yes, but the beauty of the rest of this league season is that you can use it as time to get them integrated into the side. So now, and it was really important to get the average age down, because I think we've got one of the oldest average ages in the Premier League, or something like that. The defense needs to be rebuilt. Akanji, Stones, Ake, there's a combination there of either not being good enough or being too injury prone to be relied upon. We've brought in Marmoush, we've brought in Savio. I feel like the attack is already sorted in that respect. The midfield is nearly there, just one more signing, and the defense will be there with the right back. Depends what happens with the goalkeeping situation. If Ederson stays, lovely. If not, we will need to sign a goalkeeper as well. So Ortega's a number 2, and that's all. So yeah, I'd agree with you if that was the only business we're doing, but that's not going to be the only business that we're going to be doing. A lot of players will be leaving. One of Ake or Stones, probably more likely Stones. I suspect Grealish is gone. I think his time is up. I suspect at least two of Kovacic, Nunes, Gundogan probably go as well. There'll be big moves in the summer, and this will be the rebuild that should have happened last season, and the higher ups have come out and said, yeah, we made an error there. So we will see big moves in the summer for sure. And the squad needs to be rebuilt. You've won 4 titles in a row. One of them was a treble. It's probably time to rebuild. Makes sense. It's about time. It peaked a couple of years ago. It needs to be rebuilt.
Must be nice. Little blip, and we'll drop 200 million in January, 300 million in summer. Oh,
okay. Rory, how do you propose to rebuild a squad without spending a lot of money?
Rebuild it without spending a lot of money, like every other club has to do. Well, not every other club, but rebuild it bit by bit as and when you can. You get one big move in the summer.
The end sum being that you spend a lot of money. I don't understand the difference.
Well, I think there's a difference between...
how did Arteta transform and build up this Arsenal side?
Over time,
800 million,
and doing
700
what?
million in 5 years rather than.
So he spent a lot of money.
But over time, rebuilding,
What's the difference?
growing.
I can't have an Arsenal fan saying this when theirs was like 150 million one summer, 200 million the next summer, 200 million the summer after that, 100 million the summer after that. Like,
but that's not a lot compared to 500 million in a year. Which
isn't the idea that City spend that 500 million now, and then they don't have to keep spending?
Yeah, what's the
year
difference?
on year.
Also,
they'll still spend the same amount.
But they will if it goes wrong.
It's the same though, Rory. What's the difference between spending? What's the difference? I mean, these aren't even the sums, but what's the difference between spending 500 million in 1 year as opposed to 100 million over every year for 5 years? Logistically, what's the difference? It's the same end money spent. Your issue is spending money.
500 million this year and then not spend any for the next 4 years after that, are you?
But in terms of key signings, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, that's if every single signing you get now is right and works, which is unlikely.
I don't understand the point here.
Well,
yeah, but Rory, Arsenal have spent that money on key signings like Declan Rice. They're not going out to replace Declan Rice every window. So City will spend 80 to 100 million on a profile, and then they won't replace that guy for the next 4 or 5 years.
But they will if it goes wrong.
Also,
you could have said that about Havertz. You could argue that about Havertz, that you've spent that money on Havertz and you're still after an attacking player because it was misprofiled.
Mm-hmm.
That you will
because we're not going to sell Kai Havertz.
Well,
Jesus is moving on.
Okay, but say Marmoush goes wrong. City aren't going to sell Marmoush probably over the next, 4 or 5 years. They'll probably keep him and keep working with him.
Will they?
Well, why
Isn't
not?
That exactly what they did with like Ferran Torres.
Well, yes, but
the sold Torres for a profit.
Yeah, the investment is a lot bigger, isn't it?
And we wanted to keep him. He wanted to go. What a weird example.
It's not a weird example at all.
It is, because it totally goes against your point. He was doing well at City.
Rory,
he wanted to go. Yes, he was. He wanted to go to Barcelona. He was doing well at City at that time. He was our striker.
What if City make
wasn't
money?
doing well.
Like, how
Yes,
much
he
money is
was.
City going to make this summer?
What?
If we're talking about the sales that City are going to make, how much money are they going to bring in this summer?
God knows.
250 minimum.
But it depends who they sell to, right? Depends what goes on behind the scenes. I mean, God knows with City.
I'll be shocked if they sell a player for less than 30 million, unless their contract's ended.
So let's just say, really, really conservatively, City make 150 million this summer from selling 7, 8, 9 players, and they spend 200 million. So they spent 50 million. All of a sudden, it's not outlandish. But it's not outlandish to say that Man City will make 150 million quid off sales this summer when you consider the names of the players that are going to be going.
Depends where they go to.
They're not going to sell. Right, so John Stones, how much do you reckon they get for John Stones?
30 to 40.
I don't know.
They're our club.
How old Stones?
Are you telling me Tottenham aren't going to sit there and see John Stones and go, ooh, I'll have a bit of John? They are a prime time club for the John Stones. And Newcastle are a prime time club for John Stones. You've got to bear in mind as well, Saudi Arabia now. So some of these other older players.
Yeah, I also think like Italy and Spain would be options.
Can I chime in? I'm trying to comprehend the conversation, by the way, because there's too many voices and too many opinions.
Can I give one stat, Mo, please, just to totally debunk this? I've no idea where this tripe has come from. This is from Blue City Brain on Twitter. Big up to him. Since Pep's been at the club, 16-17 season, he could spend £300 million this window and still be behind Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea, and United in respect of net spend. And he's also won quite a lot there. So I don't really know what we're doing.
Not us, because we do it the right way.
Net spend FC, big up to the
classic net spend.
Yeah. So you're having to go. So you're perfectly fine to isolate gross spend because it suits what you want to say, but not when it comes to sales. Right. That seems like an argument in good faith to me.
I was going to ask another question. Okay,
that's not, by the way.
You're the one who wrote
incredibly sarcastic. It's a bad faith argument. Very bad faith.
So all the panel thinks that football
or Paul. Okay, it's bad faith or poorly educated and poorly informed. It's one of the two. It's bad faith or poorly informed.
It's neither.
And it's economically illiterate as well.
It's neither of the two. It's neither of the.
I gave you a third option.
I've got a degree in economics. I don't need a lecture on economics.
Well, you should be doing better then, shouldn't you?
It is very different to compare the job that Pep Guardiola does, where the net spend, which is massively lowered by the sales that Manchester City make, particularly from their academy, players that often Pep Guardiola refuses to ever integrate. It is to use that, if you're talking in a conversation about Pep Guardiola and spending, his net spend is not low because he doesn't spend lots of money. It's low because the club brings in a lot of academy and they sell.
That's not the argument at all.
Well, it's the.
Can't Arsenal do that?
Can I
Rory, hang on, no, wait. Rory,
no. I want.
This is so funny, man.
No, Rory, no. Let it carry on.
Tom, you're the youngest here, but
let it carry on.
Rory, put the statement out. We can debate it. Yes, we can debate the statement because now it's all over the place.
The statement is whether Pep Guardiola is a checkbook manager.
Yeah, but Rory, your original point was it must be nice to be able to spend 200 million here, 300 million in the summer. Yeah, the only reason
you would want your club to do the same. You would want your club to do the same.
I would. Wouldn't we all, right? But the only reason it is nice and it is possible for Manchester City to be able to do that is because they have generated profit from players that Pep's never used. So
this is what I'm saying. So in terms of a checkbook manager,
your first point was never battering Pep. You've now moved on to another point to suggest if he's a checkbook manager. But the original debate started. Yes, but
because it must be nice for Pep Guardiola.
But it's only possible because of the players that City have sold, like Cole Palmer, like Morgan Rogers, like players that haven't had a sniff under Pep. So
but isn't that the whole point?
No, well, that's how they.
But hold on, money. I have a very good reason why Pep can spend the money, Rory. If you listen to what's his name, your CEO Nobbins, the Emirati guy. No, the other guy, the Emirati guy. No, the Emirati guy, the guy that the guy from Emirates, the guy that does the interviews.
Khaldoon.
Khaldoon. If you hear what Khaldoon said, he said something very important. He said, "We are able to sell all these youngsters for more money than other clubs because when Pep Guardiola came in, we had this plan to have everyone until the age of 12 play the same brand of football. So when someone comes in to buy an 18 or 19 years old, they pay top money because they know they are getting a Pep Guardiola product. And that is why Man City are very successful in terms of selling youngsters, the Lavias, all the guys that leave because they built that. If Arteta was able to integrate that system, whatever that system, and because Guardiola's system is factually the best system in the last 10, 12 years in the leagues to win titles, people want to buy players that have the system embedded in them. That is just an obvious reason, Rory. If Arteta won a lot of titles, and if Klopp won a lot of titles, and that academy play the same brand of football, people would go to Liverpool and say, I want your academy player because I know I'm getting a product that is able to win titles because it's embedded in them.
Yeah, but it started happening at Arsenal as well.
That's fantastic. Now we see Lewis Kelly and Nwaneri, and I'm guarantee you within the next 2-3 years.
You've seen before that. You've seen Emil Smith-Rowe. You've seen Nketiah. They've generated.
But Arsenal refused to sell them.
No, but they have. They've sold them. They've sold them now.
Mo, you've hit the nail on the head. There is the problem that Arsenal have, and the reason I don't have the sympathy is Arsenal are the worst selling club in the Premier League. Do you know that they sit 19th in the Premier League for record sale? The only team below them is Ipswich. If Leeds United come up this season, like there is a world where if 3 teams that are in the Championship come up this season, Arsenal have the lowest record sale in the Premier League. But their record sale.
And I present the other argument.
Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain
cut me off all the time. It's not your show. It's all of our shows.
This is exactly why the net spend argument pisses me off, because it's not Arteta's fault that Arsenal Football Club can't sell players.
It's not his fault.
No
one said it is
You're arguing a different
Rory.
Who said it's his fault?
Mo, hang on.
You are, Rory. You are all over the place here. You've said about
Rory,
5 different
things.
No,
Rory, hang on. One sec.
No, I haven't.
In this case, right, Rory, it is also not Pep's fault or a consequence of his actions that he is allowed to spend money because City are generating it, right? So it goes both ways. Arteta can't spend money, but it's not his fault that Arsenal can't generate fees. But Pep can spend money, but it's not his fault because he's not even utilised those players that they've generated. So
my original point was that Pep is a checkbook manager.
No, your original point was it must be nice to be able to spend that much money.
Which is fantastic.
We've got to the bottom of that.
And I'm not saying
they can spend that money because they sell players. The same as Chelsea, the same as Liverpool, the same as most clubs in the Premier League.
I put my hand on it now, Rory. Rory thinks it's unfair that Pep has the luxury to... What? Okay, so
just
maybe I'm wrong.
Incomparable to other to other managers. That's.
I don't think it is though, because
don't you think it's because he won a lot of trophies?
But no, my original point was that Pep is the checkbook manager. Nobbins tried to,
which is a bollocks thing to say. It's like the argument of a child. What does that even mean?
It means that he needs to spend a lot of money to recover.
Name the Premier League manager who's won many titles without spending a lot of money.
Well, there aren't many, particularly.
There's none.
There's none. I
thought
Jurgen Klopp did a decent effort with it.
He won one title. Name the one that's done it consistently.
But now you're going away from my point.
Sorry,
my
Tom.
original point was that you then tried to rubbish that argument with net spend, which is irrelevant to the context of being a checkbook manager, because net spend is not based on Pep Guardiola.
The checkbook manager point is a nonsensical point because you've not been able to name the manager. You've not been able to answer my question. So therefore, it's a nonsense thing to say.
Hold on.
Something into the mix.
Hold on. Let me ask you: would Pep Guardiola be able to win that much if he wasn't allowed to spend that much?
Yeah, because he won. Hang on one sec. He won the treble in his first season at Barcelona after disposing of like 4 or 5 of their best ever players, or some of their better players, and still won 3 trophies in that season without spending much.
It's an anomaly.
The youth.
It's an anomaly.
It's not an anomaly.
They have an anomaly. They had an anomaly.
No, he didn't. All right, he had Messi, but he also had
he
also had Busquets bought through. He also bought through Pedro. He bought players through from Barcelona B, who he also did a really good job with, without spending much money. Pep earned the right to be able to spend money because of the job he did without spending money at one of the biggest clubs in world football.
I think
which is Barcelona.
Group of Barcelona.
And they didn't. To be fair, Pep didn't spend that much before they won. What did he do? I'm trying to think. Did he recall?
He brought in Alves and he brought in Piqué, who failed at Man United.
Exactly, on pretty low amounts of money. And then and the time he was there, his starting 11 I mean, it only changed, but not by a lot. And players would leave. I mean, he bought in Ibrahimovic. He bought in David Villa. I'm trying to think of a couple of others, maybe like Maxwell, players like that. But he didn't spend a lot at Barcelona, I don't think. He earned the right to be able to spend it at Bayern Munich and Manchester City.
But can I have another argument on the same one?
The one he spent big on in Barca didn't work out in Ibra.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly right.
Is that the right way? If you have problems at the club, you just go and spend a lot of money.
How else do you rebuild a squad, Mo?
Coach your way out of it.
Okay, how are you going to coach? How are you going to coach Gundogan to grow legs?
Bring through one of the academy players instead. Coach them.
Play Nico O'Reilly. Why would?
Sorry. So Nico O'Reilly is good enough, is he?
It's not good enough, but it's on the manager to. Not every club has this.
So now we have to wait 5-6 years for Nico O'Reilly to become as good as Nico González. Is that what's happening?
How old is he?
Didn't Arsenal wait for Martinelli and Saka and Odegaard to flourish?
Right. Look at the situations that Arsenal were in compared to the situation that Manchester City are in. You are bemoaning Manchester City of spending money. These fuckers have won 4 league titles in a row. They've earned the most prize money out of anyone.
They spent before that they're now facing 115 charges for. So you can't say look at what they did.
Rory,
that's not what the charges are for, Rory. By the way,
they have won the league.
Still don't know enough about it.
They have won a league title for the last 4 years. They have won a Champions League. They have won copious amounts of cups and other honours. They have made the most revenue out of any English club for the last 4 years. They are going to spend that money they have made, as every other fucking football club does. The fact of the matter is, they have just made the most because they have been the most successful. That is what happens when you win consistently. You start.
That's like me robbing a bank, buying a massive house, then renting it out.
I don't want to.
No, Rory, because again, this is a bad faith argument, so there's no point even having.
I don't want to go there.
If that's your irrational starting point.
Also, on the youngster points,
guys, can we stay on topic and just
Manchester City are in such a bad situation this season with such a bad atmosphere and such a shit squad for all intents and purposes, Nobbins, that can't do what the manager wants it to do. That this is not the environment.
Tom, just coach them
through a young player. If you bring through with a young player, because we saw what happened with the young player that they brought in against Chelsea, he fucking wilted because it got too much for him.
Mate, we brought through Saka when we were fucking
lad.
8.
You were 8. You were 8. You had no pressure on you. A good season for you was trying to get back to Champions League.
You don't think that that's pressure?
No. The pressure on City this year after fucking up is not the same pressure that was on Arsenal when they were on course for their second 8th place finish.
We had one win in 10 games. Saka was fucking 18 years old, putting out posts about how the fans deserve better. The entire club was toxic as anything.
What pressure? How is that pressure there comparable to the pressure that Man City are in this year?
Because Man City aren't under that much pressure.
What pressure?
Man City's fans are all going. It doesn't matter. Because Man City's fans are all.
You can ask the Man City fan here: is he under pressure or not?
Exactly, they can give a shit.
Under a lot of pressure.
The fans are trying to do so, certainly. Yes.
I know you know, but I watch your shows, Nobbins. I know that you're saying that this season we already started bad. We need to use the rest of the season to embed players.
Yeah, because I accepted reality very quickly.
Exactly. You live in reality, right?
Yeah. The long and short of this is just going back to your point, Mo, is that if you think you can coach Nico O'Reilly to come in and solve all of City's problems, then you're a lunatic.
Yeah, but that's the whole point.
And it's also sorry, Mo. It's also not just one player. If it was one position and one area of the pitch, I'd be like, okay, fine, give the kid a chance or whatever. The whole midfield needs to be rebuilt. The whole defense needs to be rebuilt. The whole team needs to be rebuilt. It peaked in the treble winning year. Somehow we were able to get away with winning the title last season, thanks to miraculous individual performances by Rodri and Foden and De Bruyne. But that was, again, miraculous that we won. We should not have won the league last season. Somehow we were able to do so. We got away with it.
Back?
We're not getting away with it now. Once you win things after a period of time, you refresh, you rebuild. Every single successful club in the Premier League history does this.
Let me argue back then.
You don't get to win consistently.
So let me argue back. So you have Rodri, who's a DM, who's injured at the current moment, but he'll be back. You bought Matías Nunes, who's one of the most sought players in the Premier League that playing for Wolves as a midfielder. Am I wrong? Stop me when I'm wrong.
and that's a signing that I didn't agree with. It was a panic buy. That was a
But
big mistake by the
Me
club.
and you disagree with it. Doesn't change the fact that Nunes at that time, everyone wanted Nunes at that time, but it was too expensive, and City went and bought him to renew the midfield.
Right.
Calvin
yes.
Phillips was the captain, or not the captain, was one of the best players that Leeds, and you bought him and it didn't work out. Phil Foden is supposed to be the next Big Ten and the guy that plays behind the forward in the Premier League, right? Phil Foden is supposed to be. You have Savinho, team of the season from La Liga last season. You bought Doku. That's a choice by the club. Same stick that I have for Arsenal.
I like Doku, good player.
Same stick that I have for Arsenal. You chose Havertz. None of us hit you on the hand and said you have to buy Havertz. It's a choice of a manager and a board, right? You brought Gavardio. You have Akanji, who has been playing for 3 seasons now. Is this Akanji's 3rd season, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
So relatively, Akanji is not old in terms of like he's a new player.
Right, but he was brought in to be 5th choice. He happened to overperform in his first year.
There is the integration of Rico Lewis as right back, which is some of the City fans, not you, said that he was supposed to be the next big thing at right back at City. Not you, but a lot of them said. I had shows with City fans who said he's the next big right back. He's the next England right back. If Trent is down, he is, right? You bought, who else did you buy in the you're supposed to have Oscar Bob as winger, McAtee as a winger / midfielder. Kevin De Bruyne is leaving. You still have Bernardo Silva. My point about this is that Man City already started the rebuild 2-3 seasons ago by all these signings. That is what happened. Jack Grealish was before the treble, if I'm not mistaken, right? 1 year before the treble. Yes. So I would consider Jack Grealish, his time is done. He's 30 years old. He has 4 years at the club. He's done. He's over. He should go. But that's why you bought Marmoush to replace him. So in my opinion, City already started the rebuild, but it didn't work. But City have the privilege to say, we're going to do another rebuild in 2 years, another rebuild in 2-3 years again, because these signings and these academy players did not live up to the hype. Is that a good statement to put in?
No. The attack's been rebuilt. That's fair to say. But you haven't named a player there who is anywhere near the level of, Gundogan at his peak, near the level of Rodri, even at his worst, and is of a profile to replace either of those players.
I'd agree. I don't even think there's a signing in there that's at the level of like Laporte as well, defensively.
Gavardio is.
Who's a left back? But we're talking about centre backs, aren't we?
Yeah.
But this is where the difference in coaching, I think, comes from. Because you would look at the players now and just go, well, it didn't work, can't coach them, move on, sign another. Arteta, for example, inherits or buys a Gabriel. And Gabriel, when he first arrived at Arsenal, massively mistake-prone, rash. No one would have considered that he would ever become one of the top centre-backs in the Premier League. Arteta,
you can't coach a profile into a midfielder.
What do you mean? Gabriel's profile now is completely different.
Gravenberch is the actual living proof.
I'm not talking about Gabriel. I'm talking about City's players.
Nobbins, there is a couple. There is a couple. Even Declan Rice is being coached into an 8 at the moment.
Declan Rice came from a West Ham defensive team.
I didn't say role.
We have to have the perfect.
Hold on. Everyone stop. Nobbins, clarify.
I didn't say role or position. You guys are talking about positions and roles.
Profile.
Yeah, profile. You can't coach Kovacic.
What do you mean? Okay, wait, hang on, Nobbins. What do you mean by profile? Hang on, I know, Mo. Wait, chill. I'm chill in this argument. Don't forget. I'm chill in this one. What do you mean by profile? Because by profile, I presumed you meant a DM.
No, that's a position. A profile is, well, in part, a profile is to do with physical attributes.
Oh, okay. So you mean like
the first
what Rodri offers physically, you can't coach that into someone.
You can't coach Gundogan to be more athletic. You can't coach Kovacic to have running power.
So those things that Matheus Nunes says.
The issue with Nunes is simply not good enough on ball.
This is what I'm saying. You're Goldilocks. You want everything to be perfect. The profile has to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect.
In order to replace Gundogan, yes, the player has to be elite. Yes, Nunes is a good option. But he's not elite.
We hit the nail on the head.
That's the thing.
We hit the nail on the head.
What did you
say?
This
is why I said earlier, Nunes
checkbook manager.
Rory, what did you just say?
I'm still waiting for that manager who won multiple Premier Leagues and wasn't that. So I'll give you a bit more time on that.
Hold on. I have
Arsene Wenger ran.
Rory, hold on. I actually think Nobbins is wrong in that aspect in one thing. Pep Guardiola has changed profiles of players. Pep Guardiola has changed Bernardo Silva's way of playing football. Pep Guardiola has changed Erling Haaland to make him a very successful player, changing the way he played at Dortmund.
Profile hasn't changed. There's a difference between profile and skill set.
The word profile mean you bring in a player, for example, that play in the spaces, that play, I'm giving an example, that play in a non-position based team, and you bring him in to mold the player to be the starting striker you want, to actually suit your system. Let me give you an example. Gvardiol was a center back in a back two. Pep Guardiola, within a year, made him one of the best left backs in the league. That is changing completely the profile of the player. Akanji at Dortmund was a completely different player. John Stones played for Everton, a defensive team. Came to City, one of the best playing center backs in the league. Bernardo Silva, he changed the way he plays football. Rodri, maybe it was different. My point is, Pep Guardiola has actually changed a lot of profile. I believe it's a choice for him not to try to change the profile of players now. He's doing a Mourinho. Mourinho at Inter. Let me finish that point because it's very important. I'm sorry. Mourinho, when he first joined Chelsea, he got a lot of players and he changed them. He joined the Inter. He got him different profiles. He changed them to win a treble. I believe that Mourinho's career dipped because he thought himself, he reached the point, it's like, I'm not changing anyone's profile. You come in, you're ready to play the system I want, or I'm not working with you the extra mile that he used to work. Like Mourinho used to work with Drogba. He changed him from being behind Mido in Marseille to be the starting striker for Chelsea. Makaleli, the same. Pep Guardiola used to do that. By the way, with Bayern Munich, he changed Kimmich and he changed Philipp Lahm. We all know that. He changed the way they play football. At City, he changed a lot of players. It's a choice not to change the players now. It's a choice to say, Matthias Nunes, I don't have time to work on you more. I need a midfielder. I brought you as a midfielder. It didn't work. That is a manager that doesn't want to work harder on the players and he wants to replace the ones that don't work. Does that make sense now?
Yeah, but it doesn't work because, again, Nunes has been trialed many times in the centre. He's never, when we bought him from Wolves, he was not the sort of player who'd be able to receive the ball under pressure and turn with it. That wasn't a part of his repertoire in the first instance. He's been trialed with that responsibility and burden at City, and every single time he's failed. He's not improved on ball. That is the issue.
Sounds like
but Matthias Nunes was good on ball at Wolves. Very good.
He was never the sort of player to be able to receive under pressure, as I say, and have a solid first touch and evade it, which is exactly what City need right now in that position. If that's specifically what we're talking about, and I think it is.
Okay. Do you think, for example, Doku, I get your point. Doku, for example, Pep approved or didn't approve the signing, but he got a player, right? That is...
Doku's good. Doku's very good. I like Doku.
You like Doku a lot. You like Doku. Doku might be third choice left winger now after Marmoush and Fabinho.
It doesn't mean you can't like him. Like Doku's an entertaining, exciting player that definitely.
I love him. I love watching him there. I agree with you. I love him. I love Doku. Every time
there's a time and a place for Doku, isn't there?
Yeah, I think that Doku will be second choice because Savio's position is on the right. It's like I'm not having that he's a left winger. He's a right winger.
Yeah, and off of yesterday's performance, it doesn't look like Marmoush will be deployed out wide at all.
No, yeah, so there'll be plenty of minutes for Doku.
The thing about it is that
failed. He's been good.
Is it fair that no team in the Premier League has, apart from fucking Chelsea, have the luxury to do that in the Premier League?
I don't even think it's about fairness. I just think it comes to, when it comes to debating managers, I feel like it's something that has to be factored in. I think the fact I think the fact that Pep's now gone 5 games without beating Mikel Arteta, despite the fact that he has everything at his disposal, I think it's an interesting conversation to have.
It is.
And I think that's
a conversation. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I put in the title that he schooled him. That's why tactically he was superior to him in the last 5 games.
That's the master versus the apprentice, right? The apprentice has learned everything that the master's taught him and added his own interpretation to it. And in a head-to-head game, you could argue that Arteta seems to be getting the best and getting one over Pep in recent encounters. What you would say, though, is he still isn't quite on the level as the master because Pep is still winning trophies.
It's not even close, then. I agree with you.
Yeah, well, it's closer than a lot of people give it credit for, because Arteta with probably less tools and fewer
But this is
fewer additions to his
by the way,
squad has got his Arsenal side within touching distance in the league twice now.
Yeah, okay.
But then
So he's doing
Arteta can't
better
go
than
out in
people give him
January
credit
and
for.
spend 200 million to replace the players that aren't.
But I
good.
also think, Rory, right, even if Arteta could, I'm not entirely sure that he would, because I don't know if I see him being that type of manager, in the sense that he constantly wants to add additions. I think Arteta quite likes working with a group of players that he understands and gets.
No manager doesn't like money. Then
No.
I
Give
don't know.
Arteta
I
the
don't
money
know.
He's
tomorrow.
wanted a
I don't
winger.
know.
He's wanted a winger for a long time, even
Right.
back to when we wanted Mudryk.
Mudryk, yeah.
And he's wanted a striker because he wanted Vlahovic before we ended up with Jesus. He's obviously wanted Sesko. So
Maybe you shouldn't have bought another left back.
Sorry?
Maybe you shouldn't have kept buying left backs and centre mids then.
I mean, but again, he's not really bought, like, people use that, but even this season, we've still had to rely on Miles Lewis-Skelly, an academy player in that position because of injuries and stuff like that. But again, for Pep, like, Kivior would have been sold and you'd have had that money and you wouldn't really need to worry about it. You can just buy the squad that you need. So, look, it's,
But I think to call Pep a checkbook manager is probably a step too far, because I think he's done unbelievable things that you can't do with a checkbook, with or without the money spent. He has done unbelievable things. No, but Rory, he's done fantastic things with players and his team that you can't,
no doubt
no
about
matter
it.
how much money is spent, you can't do
No
what he's
doubt
done.
about it. No doubt about it. But I wonder how many other managers, given every single perfect player that they need.
No, I don't. I understand what you're saying,
I
Rory,
debunked that, Rory. I debunked that.
Yeah, I don't think
Not
they
particularly.
understand. Pep has an
Rory,
understanding
I
and an
said that
ideology
Pep didn't
around
get-
football that others don't.
Give
Pep didn't
Andoni
get everything.
Iraola. Give Andoni Iraola the sort of financial backing that Pep's had.
You really
Yeah,
believe that?
No,
and
Rory,
he wins
come on.
4 in a row in the treble, clearly.
He doesn't.
Maybe.
You
he
believe
doesn't-
that, Rory?
maybe.
Seriously, you
finish
believe
with
that?
Pep's CV.
Maybe.
He doesn't.
No, the coaching would have been so easy then if people are
No.
giving money and they win triples and stuff. No, I disagree with you,
Why
Rory.
have
Because
Man
also-
United won fuck all?
I disagree with you, Rory, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
At this
I don't
point,
know.
no.
Look how
Stop
much
trying to
money.
bring
the
logic
rest-
into this,
You
Look how
Tom.
can't
much
disagree
money-
with the maybe. I said maybe. You can't disagree
Rory,
with the
look how
maybe.
much
You'll
money
never know.
Chelsea's squad is worth currently, or the money that's been spent on it, and it's not anywhere near. Obviously, it's had multiple managers, but we're talking about another manager that's been cut from the same cloth or learnt from Pep, like Arteta did, and he's nowhere near what Arteta or Pep are. Some people, like Arteta as a coach, was praised incredibly highly, and even Pep said in multiple times, like he's very, very astute. He's very intelligent.
Pep was outspent by Real Madrid when he was in Barca. He's been outspent by both United and Chelsea when he's been in England.
And I believe that Pep didn't get every profile they had. He had to work on Grealish, for example, Rory. He had no left winger.
He's
But-
kind of
but-
ruined Grealish.
Okay,
He
hold
spent
on.
100
Yeah,
million
okay,
on
okay.
him, and he
Okay,
ruined
we
his
ag-
career.
We agree or disagree on him ruining Grealish or not. At the end, he used Grealish as the starting winger on a triple winning season. That's him working on the guy to embed him in a team to win a
But
freaking
it-
triple. The ultimate goal.
But if a
Right?
manager spent 100 million quid on a winger and didn't get them to work, that just makes a bad manager. Like
Well-
a manager getting £100 million player to work should kind of be the standard.
Wow,
It's a lot of.
When it doesn't work, you
I need
look
to
at
do the
manager
super
and you
chats
question the
before
manager and-
Nobbins go, by the way, just because some of them are addressing him. So let me do this quickly. Nobbins, do you want Liverpool to win like most City fans?
What, the league?
Gun to your head, Nobbins. Liverpool or Arsenal win the league?
I feel like the answer is probably Liverpool, purely based on my time on social media, though. If I wasn't on social media, I would say Liverpool.
So
But
fucking funny. Like his only reason is social media. That is it.
yeah, if I, because I'm relatively new to social media, so I only really got on it in like 2020, 21ish. But yeah, sadly that they've made my change my mind. So
The
also,
cringiest rivalry in the history of the sport, I swear.
Well,
The City pool
social media
loving.
derby.
I feel like it ended when Klopp left. In fairness, like this feels like a different, even the way they play, it's a different Liverpool. And I do like objectively, I do just like. So
The
I
City
do
pool
just
love
like
is-
slots.
Let me do that. The next super chat. Thoughts on the outrage? Question for Nobbins as well. Thoughts on the outrage over Milo's skill celebration?
He's allowed to do what he wants.
Yeah.
All right. Guardiola didn't like it for some reason, and the journalists. The journalists are so mean, bro. Why do they keep poking him, bro? He didn't answer the first time, and the guy repeated the question again. He didn't answer the second time,
So they
and the guy repeated the question again. They wanted the reaction. Yes,
because
they
he
wanted the
does
reaction.
Sports.
That's why they do it, because they'll get the reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah, that
because
makes
he
me
could have
feel
just.
But they
he could have
lost.
just
You know,
answered-
he left the conference. He left.
But he could have just answered it the first time he was asked by saying, "I don't care what he, good
Like
for him."
Nobbins. Maybe Nobbins should do the press conference for
Yeah,
City
maybe
from now
Nobbins
on.
should.
Like mentally, Pep. That makes me feel uncomfortable to watch Pep in that state, because I don't feel like he's okay. Like, he's doing the thing with his tongue, and he's sort of turning into like a villain. He's been around long enough to become the villain. I find it really uncomfortable.
His work husband Jurgen Klopp's gone. His little anchor in football, Jurgen Klopp's gone. He's gone off the deep end.
Do you think Pep was annoyed by that? Do you think that Pep was annoyed by the celebration, or do you think he was annoyed at the press conference? And
Guys,
the way
can we not? I need to finish these super chats, just and then we can go from there. Okay? Because I know Nobbins has to go. Mo lost his show. Rory lost his argument, and now it's pivoting to something else, basically criticizing City for being well run and able to generate money.
I didn't criticize City for that at all.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think we misunderstood you, Rory.
Yeah, I didn't hear Rory criticize for that, to be fair.
I did. He literally criticized Pep. He said that the word checkbook manager is basically a criticism.
He didn't.
Am I wrong here?
No, to be fair, right? He didn't.
It's incendiary language.
It is, Rory. When I say Arteta is a checkbook manager, I'm having a dig at Arteta.
Yeah, but that isn't criticizing the club for the day-to-day running and how they generate profit. I hear what. Yeah, I didn't see Rory say that. I actually heard him like probably disrespect Pep. In fact, calling him a checkbook manager, right? But not disrespect City for the way that they run and generate money.
Yeah, Pep should say he doesn't want money. Maybe.
Why should he?
It's a sarcastic comment.
No, he's being sarcastic.
I don't
know. Say that he
Sarcastic.
doesn't want money.
It's a sarcastic comment.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna do that one in a bit. City fan confusing attributes with profile. Yes. City fan confusing profile with attributes. It's all about how you define attribute and profile. I think you're talking about attributes.
Profile is everything together.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably
attribute is a bit. Nobbins explained it very well. Attribute is the ability to receive under pressure, pass, blah blah blah. This is called attributes in football.
Yeah, but what attributes you have defines your profile.
Yes.
A profile for me is your physicality, your attributes on the ball as an actual footballer, and how good you are mentally. How well you read the game. Or combine all of that together, you get a profile of footballer.
Yeah, I hear that.
XG, net spend profile, skill set, fish and chips. I don't know what's going on here now, but always entertaining. Tom, you're too far back. Yeah, Tom was having it.
Frankie, wait till we get to like pitch
Nobbins,
tilt,
then we have to go now.
Field tilt and all that.
Bye.
That's all right. Really good analytics. Field tilt,
What are we doing here? Okay.
Why am I at the bottom? I'm fucking top of the league.
Rory won fucking 5-1 against City. He deserves. Okay, you go.
I'm hold on. Right.
Khalas.
Yeah, you should.
He's gonna start crying with his haircut.
You drew with AC Milan. That is where they've
been
at the bottom.
Tom, we are playing against the best coach. The best coach in league history to win league titles with underrated teams, Antonio Conte, bro.
You didn't play Napoli yesterday. You played AC Milan with Kyle Walker.
No, you got very. I watched that game actually. You got very lucky.
Unlucky. We hit the post 4 times.
No.
We hit the post 4 times.
Lucky.
We have double direct.
No, you got a lot of offsides. You got a lot of offsides that were very
close. We had 3 goals called off, and we hit the post 4 times.
Well, maybe you should just be onside then. Maybe you should just be better at making attacking.
Tell that to Lautaro Martinez.
By the way, though, how much better is offside and VAR? Like, it's so efficient.
See how simple it is? You see how simple it is in Italy? Done. Yeah. Over. 20 seconds over. Offside. No one argues. Crazy. It's an AI thing that does it. No one actually argues at all.
Absolutely. And there was no focus on the ref, like as in he was being unfair. It was more.
It's actually a disgrace that in the Premier League Like we were literally meant to have it this season, and it's just not happened, and everyone's
because
just let
they
them off
can't
the hook.
decide how to implement it properly because they still want their opinion to surround it.
Yeah, thank you so much. La Liga has it, Bundesliga has it, Italy has it, France have it. Why don't you have it?
If La Liga has it.
World Cup had it.
You know what,
Euros had it.
PGMOL? They're not beating the allegations, bro. They want to affect the game.
exactly.
They're
They
not
want
beating the
control.
allegation.
Howard Webb wants to be able to get on the phone and go, just move the line slightly further forward, and he'll be offside.
Did you guys see
you know the Rory? You know the one they do? They change the frame to like the second frame.
You
so
can genuinely manipulate it to come to the outcome. If it's
and also,
really
did you
see
guys
the ball and it'll be blurred
one?
between like three.
You don't see the Konate? They drew the line from the wrong. You know, Tom, you know what I'm
They
right.
were doing
you know
that.
You're gonna cry now because I'm saying that.
No, I will give you the reason.
He's not even allowing me to put my point out.
I'm not
he knows where I'm
lies.
going.
I'm not allowing your lies.
What lies?
He's not lying.
So that line that was used was
not. I'm fucking lying.
The line that was used was not used to figure out whether Kerkez was offside. It was used to figure out whether Van Dijk was further back than Konate, and to who do we draw the line off?
So why is that the graphic?
I'm sorry, hold on. Can he explain again? How is the offside line is drawing to have Liverpool player behind him?
So, you ready for this, Mom? I'm going to explain the timeline of events that happened.
Sorry, Diallo, I'm going to do a super chat, but this is interesting.
Sorry, Diallo, but I need to educate him. So, goal goes in. David Brooks scores. Woo! Flag goes up offside. They start drawing the lines. They draw the line from the point where it was Semenyo plays the ball to Kerkez. They draw the line to Konate because at that point, Konate is the guy whose leg you can see. They draw the line off Konate and he's offside. And you don't need to draw lines to figure that out. You can see that he's offside. What they didn't know is where the fuck Van Dijk's foot was because Van Dijk's foot was behind Konate. They don't know if Van Dijk's a bit further back or not. So what they do is they go and draw the line again off Van Dijk to see if he's further back than Konate. They draw the line, they see it goes through Konate's foot, therefore Konate is further back. Therefore, you use the line off Konate, where Kerkez is offside, goes offside.
But the problem
I'm a very educated person, alhamdulillah. I have a degree in science equal to masters in geophysics, alhamdulillah.
But
thank God. I want to thank my country.
You could have a master's degree.
I actually really, you lost me, bro.
You could have a master's degree trying to explain the logic of the PGMOL and how the fuck this VAR works. It doesn't have logic.
The point here is, why are the Premier League's official channels, which they did on their stupid Twitter page that no one can reply to, why are they putting out a picture that ultimately shows a random line that goes through Konate's foot and saying, see, this is why it's offside. Yeah, that's the point that makes no sense.
Thank you.
Fine. He was offside. I think we all could see from the naked eye it was offside. The point is, why are you not showing the graphic where the two lines are drawn and you can see that the green
because
line
they never drew the two lines? They never drew
exactly.
That's the whole
issue. And that makes it wrong.
They just sent out a random graphic with a random blue line through Konate's foot.
Come on, Tom. Come on.
Hold on. I'm just gonna say this logically. If we can all see he's offside with the naked eye, why do they need to go spend a minute?
Yeah, Habibi, because we don't know. I can respond to you very simple. I have seen plenty in the Champions League, in Serie A, in Bundesliga, in La Liga. Plenty of evidence of sometimes my eyes are wrong because the angle of the camera. That's why there's something called lines. Otherwise, we'll trust the lines.
Yeah. Tom, do you know what happens when they don't draw lines and just wing it? Louis Diaz is ruled offside when he's actually onside.
But
and then you go into meltdown.
Or like the line of the pitch and the line that they use for offside will be completely variant.
My point is, they don't need to do the whole circumstance of drawing the green line, which they take way too long on. That's Stonewall penalty. They don't need to do all the thing of going and finding where Kerkez offside and then drawing the line and then, oh, fuck, we got it wrong there. Let's readjust that.
That's the whole point of VAR.
No. Hold on. They drew the line off of Konate. They saw that Kerkez's entire left leg was offside. Why would they then need to draw the line on Kerkez when his leg is in the fucking black section?
Because they're trying to control the outcome. They're trying to choose which one they like best. I'm like, you can't deny that all of this conversation literally gets removed at the click of a finger with the use of AI and semi-automated offside.
It's so good in the Champions League.
It becomes factual. It almost becomes factual whether the player is offside or not with the use of semi-automated technology. It's crazy how much time is wasted in the games by these sort of decisions. We're playing 100-minute football matches now because there is at least 10 minutes a game spent on trying to decide whether someone is offside or not on multiple different occasions. In Italy, it's that quick. Like, it's just ridiculous.
The problem is, I don't know why they aren't bringing in the semi-automated. I don't know what their reason
they can't
is.
control it.
Yeah, that's it. It's what we have to be careful with what we suggest, but there is obviously a reason. Yeah.
Because they can't use the line of it doesn't work in the Premier League stadiums because it works in every single Premier League stadium. It's in the fucking Champions League or the Europa League or the Conference League. Which is
oh my god! It's an obligation. It's an obligation to use it in the Champions League. So Arsenal had to use it, and City had to use it. Villa, they had to use it. So, oh my god, I just remembered now.
Yeah.
You have the technology.
And the best part is,
in Europa League, Man United used it in their game.
Well, I think they use the same cameras that are used for goal line technology, no?
They can't even use the price, though, because you know what? La Liga are the cheapest fucking bastards going. They took out goal line technology because it was too expensive. But
they still don't have it,
semi-automated.
No, they still don't have it.
Wow, that's crazy.
But they'll pay for semi-automated.
It's too expensive.
So whatever
even they can afford. And even I would imagine like the lowest or sort of like poorest La Liga stadiums, I would imagine they are far poorer than the poorest Premier League stadiums.
I think, and I also think there are two different price ranges.
Yeah,
you can have for the cameras.
We can afford the most expensive one. It's the most richest league in the world. When Luton came up, they had to spend a ton of money redoing the stadium to be able to operate VAR. So it's like
it's stupid. To be honest,
there is no excuse for it other than the fact that they still want the referees to be able to draw the lines on the right frame that they think is the right frame to use. And in the most marginal of offsides, they have control over whether or not it's offside or onside.
You're right.
Are the PGMOL employed by the Premier League?
Yes, they're a limited company.
So are the PGMOL potentially under instructions to have the Premier League operate in a way that makes it more entertaining?
And you're older than this. You know that is the narrative. That is the narrative. You know that is the narrative. There has to be headlines. There have to be headlines. Howard Webb going and explaining the
papers.
Dan, you know what is said when Sky took over the Premier League in 1991 or 1992. They said, we're going to turn this into the most entertaining league, the most marketable league in the world. You can't do that if everything goes straightforward.
Yeah.
There has to be lines, and there has to be like headlines drawn, and
it's almost
you know what,
Rupert Murdoch owns Sky and the press.
It's almost as if there's now lots of people employed specifically just to do shows talking about referees. It's almost as if
we've got all the fucking tinfoil hats out.
No, it's true though. It's true. If I make videos talking about refereeing decisions, they do more views than pretty much any other video.
My best ever recorded video is about Arsenal goal against Liverpool, and it got
honestly.
Like 13K or 14K, something like this.
They look at the numbers. They look at the numbers.
Let me do this. If you spend 200 in January, you are a suspect. No, Diallo. No, that's not right. I'm not a financial expert, but no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Big up Rory. You are on point. City fan dodging. You'll get people saying Rory is right. You'll get people that are saying Nobbins is correct.
Mostly so.
Absolutely. Of course, Rory. 10. Yes, absolutely. That is a checkbook fraud. Stop lying to yourself. The man from Uncle is saying. And Femi is saying, Tom, what's your beef with Arsenal City? City have dominated us for the past decade, bar one season. If you should hate anyone, it's them. I swear fans like you are confused.
Liverpool fans enjoy being cuckolds. I've come to the conclusion that Liverpool fans enjoy being cuckolds.
Rory?
I hate both of them.
Yeah, the Liverpool fans enjoy it. The amount of Liverpool fans kicking off yesterday after Arsenal won and celebrated. It's peak cuckoldry. You should have multiple Premier League titles. The only reason you don't is that team and their ways of operating. And yet, immediately, the amount of Liverpool fans back on their knees for City. It's incredible.
Rory,
everyone has their kinks, I suppose.
I want nothing more. Than for those fuckers to be found guilty and for me to have all my league titles. But I don't have a preference for either team. I hate both of them. Both of
No.
them.
Let me ask you.
Horrible.
Gun. I'm gonna do Hussam. Gun to your head next season. You're not challenging for the title. Arsenal, City going for the title after you won it this season. See, caveat. You already won it this season. Who would you want to win the title?
Shoot me.
No. You have to answer. You have to answer.
No. You gave me the gun to me head. You gave me the gun to me head,
bro.
You gave me the gun to me head.
See that, bro?
You gave me the gun to me head.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you what, guys.
He'll go down knowing that the last league title he ever saw was his team winning.
Exactly.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what. You know that answer, right? If he was gonna say Arsenal, he would have said it so easy. But because he knows his answer is City, he would say, shoot me.
If you're asking me out of those two, yes, I would say City.
Thank you. That's the whole point.
Because I don't need to fucking deal with it all summer.
But the rationale is crazy because they hate City because City beat them to all the titles and the ways that City had done that with the 1-1-5. They hate Arsenal because someone off AFTV has a Stay Humble Arsenal shirt on. Like the difference in the reasons.
I found that quite funny.
But
I found it funny,
Liverpool fans yesterday.
I found it quite funny.
Because we sing North London Forever before the start of the game. The amount of Liverpool fans go mental about that because we sing a little song before kickoff. The difference in reasoning for the hating each team is wild.
No, I don't like Arsenal. I don't like Arsenal.
I'm gonna ask another question, Tom. I'm gonna ask another question, Tom. Would you rather City win the Champions League to have their second next season, or Arsenal win the Champions League?
City win the Champions League. It's so funny. It's so funny Arsenal not having one. It's so funny Arsenal not having one. I would rather Chelsea win one than Arsenal.
Oh my God!
The only exception is United.
Not beating the allegation.
I would rather Arsenal win a league title than United, or Arsenal win a league.
Yeah,
title
but we know why. That's an easy choice. Arsenal over United is an easy choice.
But it's funny, with those because they haven't fucking won anything. They're close to 30 years. They tried to clown my club for 30 years. They could get to 30 years. Then they can't laugh at me.
Who? Arsenal fans?
Yeah. You're going on 30 years.
There's no rivalry between Arsenal and Liverpool. There's no rivalry between Arsenal and Liverpool at all.
No.
There's a rivalry with every top club. But that's why there's not one with Tottenham.
But Arsenal-Liverpool's not really a rivalry, though. Until it's become a rivalry.
19 league titles, so 13. There's not even a rivalry at all. Your players are not even competitive. Like, it's not like
when Arsenal were actually winning Premier Leagues, Liverpool weren't. So the rivalry didn't even develop then.
We came second behind them 1 year.
Oh, yeah, true. Actually, when was that? 02?
0102.
0102. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. I feel like what Rory's saying about the fan base and the fans is actually a huge reason to why.
That is the main reason because I'm
because of me.
It's Rory's fault on TikTok.
You got to hold that.
It's Rory's fault on TikTok.
Imagine you wake up in the morning and you get rattled by Rory Talks Football. Imagine that's your life. Part of your day-to-day life.
It's to check Rory Talks Football. What did he say today?
Getting angry about what Rory Talks Football's got to say about Arsenal.
The best part is those ones who come onto YouTube after a long day of work. They click on the favourite stream and see one of us on the panel and they go, "Oh, I can't believe he's fucking
I had people comment on Hossam's show. Oh, not this fucker on Hossam's show because Tom showed face on Hossam's show. You don't want to hear them.
Do you know the one I've got recently? For the whole time I've been on YouTube, I've been negative. I'm now considered honest.
Yeah, that's what happens.
I'm now honest.
It's Chelsea are not winning. Changes, isn't it? All of a sudden your team doesn't do well.
It is.
Wait, the whole time I've been on YouTube, Chelsea haven't been winning, so I don't know what changed.
But now all of the positive fans, they're gradually going from positive to now they're deluded. They're delusional. Yeah, that's the way it swings. Got to stand by your principles in this game.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
so what I do is
Chelsea remains sixth tonight. Or?
It is so strange. This show, it has become a place. To be honest, it has to be a place.
Graham Potter Avenged Store.
Honestly, I see it.
I now genuinely enjoy the show because of the debates and the way we have debates on the show. Sometimes we don't talk football, right? But the debates we have are actually entertaining. Like, I was entertained when Nobbins and Rory were going at it. You know what I mean? I was so entertained. And Tom comes in with, like, he sits back, comes up and have his statement and sit back again. We didn't talk about the games, and we didn't talk about Liverpool or Chelsea today. But anyway,
Well, I know. We done this weekend. We were the real winners.
yeah, 100%.
Arsenal done something we done months ago, and in a worse way than we did it. And we done something they couldn't do all season, which was
Can I say something about this, Rory? Can I say something about this?
Clean sheet, mate.
The amount of people playing down Arsenal winning 5-1 against Pep Guardiola's City at the Emirates is enormous. To the point is like, you can't understand how big of an achievement for Mikel Arteta without Bukayo Saka, with Kai Havertz as striker, to host Pep Guardiola with Erling Haaland after he said, stay humble and beat them 5-1. This is a massive achievement that people are playing that. Like, you really don't understand how big is this.
But
It's
this
so
is
big.
But this
The
is
underlying
what
number states
genuinely we do.
Yeah, I didn't see the underlying
But
number in
this
the fucking XG. They won
but
5-1.
This is genuinely what we do have
It's
to deal with.
unsustainable.
When we beat Liverpool at the Emirates last season, the biggest talking point after the game was that Martin Odegaard took a picture of the club photographer. We've beaten City 5-1 at the Emirates this season. The biggest talking point is what Miles Lewis-Skelly did to celebrate, or Gabriel screaming in Haaland's face, like Gary Neville coming out after the game saying that that made him feel uneasy. Like, we can't win games.
That's also a funny
and
one.
be happy.
He's perfectly fine with you launching the ball in the back of someone's head.
Yeah,
but you
no,
scream in
he
the
found that
face
funny.
once afterwards.
He said when Haaland lobbed the ball at the back of Gabriel's head, he said him and Carragher found it funny. Gabriel laughs in Haaland's face. He said that's disrespectful and it made him feel uneasy. Like, there is a reality. Arsenal fans are not allowed to be happy on social media. Like, we're not allowed to celebrate wins. We're not allowed to believe that our players are good. And so it is actually quite frustrating, social media, after an Arsenal win.
They say Arsenal fans, but Liverpool fans are the weirdest. No, I still think that the strangest fan base are Man United, without a shadow of a doubt. It's the strangest fan base in the world, Manchester United.
The problem is, the bigger the fan base, the more weirdos there are. I think, well, no, because it's true, right? Like, every fan base has weirdos. It's just that, naturally, the big, which is why, like, Arsenal have a very big, especially online fan base, which is why you get, some questionable characters. But I think pound for pound, West Ham have the weirdest fan base.
Well, I know only one West Ham fan is Lawless. I don't live in London, so I know only one West Ham fan.
They all believe that they are, like, that they should be competing at the top of the Premier League and playing liquid football, and that if they're not doing that, they need to sack the manager every time. And they genuinely convince themselves of that. You look at the way they treated David Moyes. I reckon pound for pound, it's West Ham.
Yeah, and
even
if you go through West Ham's managers, like literally from like Kerbishley, Pardew days, it shows the whole way.
I've never seen West Ham as a big club. That's the point.
See it every time.
In my life,
they get a solid manager who might not play attractive football but wins games. They have him for 2 years, then they go, right, let's go for
Zola.
Let's go for Zola. Let's go for Pellegrini. Let's go for Bilic. It doesn't work, and then they go back to the
Allardyce.
British manager. Doesn't play nice football, but gets
results.
Then they're like, Pellegrini.
Pellegrini.
West Ham are never. I don't think in my life I'll see West Ham win a big trophy in my life.
Is Graham Potter the perfect blend? We'll put he'll obviously have him playing a good version of football, but also like he's a British manager.
He doesn't do either thing well. The perfect
right. So they've gone for the middle. They've actually gone for the middle ground.
A foreign manager who plays shithouse football. That's the perfect blend for West Ham. What they've got is an English manager who wants to play nice football. It's the two things that don't necessarily correlate with each other.
I have a feeling that in my lifetime I will never
West Ham's manager history. You need him.
I've watched the Premier League since 2002 religiously, right? This is where I started watching the Premier League, to be honest. So I fell in love. I've never seen West Ham as a big team in my life.
They're not a big team. I've seen them relegated more than they've won trophies in my lifetime.
Cup, which is the 5th or the 6th. I've never seen West Ham do anything in my life.
But that was the thing, right? They won the Conference League and then thought that they should be next step was.
Right, Mo.
I believe that there's only one West Ham fan in the world, which is Dan Lawless. This is it. This is my belief.
No, East London is full of West Ham fans.
Really? I've been to East London. Everyone supports different clubs.
Also, West Ham have this really weird love-in with Man City as well.
Yeah,
They've been for a
it's
while
called
now.
something, isn't it? They called it something.
They made their own logo.
Yeah.
West Ham fans made their own logo that incorporated the Man City logo, which again, it was just bizarre.
So Mo, you had
Bizarre.
so since 1994, they had Harry Redknapp, good solid English manager. Then they went a little bit out there with Glenn Roeder, didn't work. Went to Alan Pardew and Alan Kirbishley back to back. Went out there with Gianfranco Zola and Avram Grant, didn't work. Went to Sam Allardyce. Then went out there with Slaven Bilic, didn't work. Went back to David Moyes. Then went out there with Pellegrini, didn't work. Then went back to David Moyes. Then went out there with Lopetegui, didn't work. Then went for another English manager and Graham Potter. They'll go out there for one of these foreign managers who they think play nice football. It doesn't work within 2 years. They sack him and they return to the point of, right, let's get a good, solid British manager in who plays the right style of football. And then after 2 years, they go, ooh.
I don't know why West Ham fans have the right to play nice football. Like, what did you do in your life to have this right to play nice fucking football?
Their logic is they had a good
Nice
youth academy
footballers.
in the 90s where they got brought through.
Who gives a
Ferdinand and
fuck, bro? What
Carrick
did
and
he win in the
Lampard and
90s?
Defoe. Nothing, but the whole point is they are the fact. What's it? The factory of football or something like that? Something that they want to use like that?
Listen, let me do this last
Don't
super
you-
chat so
don't
we
you-
can get
don't-
out of here, bro.
I
We
think
banter
66
Arsenal.
is a huge thing as well, for West Ham and believing about where they
Yes.
should stand in football heritage, because they obviously had the squad that provided, like, I think the most players to the England World Cup winning team.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
Bobby Moore and Jeff.
Yeah,
Ellis
so I think it comes from a long time ago.
Everyone is nobody watched the World Cup at that time. We banter Arsenal because it's funny. That's really they give us ammo on daily basis to work with. It's the easiest team to make fun of. Spot on, to be honest.
But I think so. Do you know what I think it used to be?
Spot on.
No, do you know what? Do you know what I think it is though? Is that so? It used to be most people grew up in the social media age where we were the banter club, and now I think there's an element of people struggle now to deal with the fact that we can't really be bantered that much for what we're actually doing on the pitch. So you can't banter Arsenal for beating Man City 5-1. So you invent something about how you banter them for celebrating because it's not a trophy, but every team celebrates every win every weekend without winning a trophy. I think that's the thing where it's like, okay.
My
so
worry is, Rory, is that there's now become this element for Arsenal where they get the fans are so annoyed at the response that they get off the back of social media that when you do get something that goes your way and it's massive, like yesterday, I almost feel like the pendulum swings too far the other way. And I feel like that's why there's no like real balance with. Do you know what I mean?
Probably.
Yeah.
You hear
Probably.
that?
Watch
we're a bit
this. Watch
unhinged.
this.
Like,
Watch
if
this.
you don't win the league, right? Just say that happens, and even though you're not favourites to do so, you know 100% every photo that was put up on social media from Arsenal fans yesterday will come back to haunt you at the end of the season. That will be viral if you don't win the league. Do you know what I mean?
Probably. It was a great day.
So we know it's
Exactly,
going to be viral.
right. And I think you should be able to enjoy that, of course. But I think because of how it's happened in like recent years, you're right in the sense that.
Can I ask you guys something honestly? Listen, I will do this. And I want to ask one last question, guys, before we end the show. I just thought about it. Funniest tweet of the weekend was Redman TV saying Arsenal fans were singing, "Are you watching Merseyside?" Absolute weirdos.
That was a very weird tweet.
Yeah. What's better for content? Arsenal winning the league this season or Arsenal not winning the league?
Depends who you ask. My content flies if we win the league. But
No, controversial. What do you think? Tom, you're muted. Just last question.
It's always funny if Arsenal don't win the league.
Actually, I think if Arsenal win the league this season, we can have this whole next season with a conversation. This whole next season with conversations. It doesn't matter. If Arsenal, I'm going to tell you, if Arsenal are top of the league, we'll have conversations. If Arsenal are not top of the league and they aren't winning the league, we'll have conversation about, oh, it was one-off. You still need to do better, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but you'd have
The
those
problem is, if
those
Arsenal
conversations
don't
anyway.
win the league, we can we're going to have the same content next season. Same exact.
Mhm.
As
But
this
the same
season.
the same content
Oh,
is
so you
funny.
mean- so you want the change.
No, I want better content.
But and also, if Arsenal win the league this season, it would be a monumental bottle job from Liverpool.
Yeah,
But they won't want to
100%
admit that.
true.
But they'll
Fantastic.
pivot back to the start of the season where we're never
Not good for me, to be
Arsenal.
honest. Because I want to have Salah and Henry conversation all summer. So that is
We're
different.
never having that conversation anyway.
We are having that
Mo,
conversation.
I
I'm
mean,
forcing
that's
you.
having that
I am
conversation.
forcing you on the show to have this
We're
conversation.
never
if
having
Liverpool
that
win the league.
conversation.
I am having this conversation with you.
What conversation?
what
On
do we do?
numbers, I think you can. On numbers, you can have that conversation, but on anything else, I don't feel that conversation.
I
has
mean,
any
if
weight.
Salah ends this
We're
season,
not gonna have
with
this
a-
conversation
with a-
today, but
No,
anyway.
Mo,
if Salah
come on,
ends
what
this
are we
season
doing?
with a Premier League title, a Champions League title, a Golden Boot, a PFA Player of the Year, and a Ballon d'Or,
He'll go down as a
interesting,
Premier
that's all I'll
League.
say.
He'll go down as a Premier League great. But
That
he
was
won't.
He'll
near.
go down as
Premier
the
League
Premier
greatest.
League great.
Can we
The
listen,
Premier
guys?
Still
League
wasn't as good as Henry.
It was
The Premier
what?
League great.
I will not have this conversation then. No.
What
Anyway,
do we?
guys,
What are we doing it? If you put Hazard and Salah together, you get Henry.
Yeah, and not even.
That's how
Close
good
to
Henry
Henry.
was.
The problem is we've got an Egyptian and a Liverpool fan, so there's an element of bias here that the two of us don't. have.
100%. You see, I'm not admitting it.
Mo is wearing red today. for
I
Liverpool.
don't think you understand how shameless I
Definitely,
would be for this
I am
debate. I'm
definitely
shameless at the
having-
best of times, but I
The
swear,
debate will go nowhere. Do you know why the debate won't go anywhere?
If Mohamed Salah has a Ballon d'Or,
Do you know why the debate? The reason the debate won't go anywhere is Henry's not a current player, which means people will feel more comfortable praising him than praising a current player, and because there will still be the entire section of people that will tell you that Eden Hazard's better than Mo Salah, so they can't jump on the Salah's better than Henry unless they're trying to say that Hazard's the best ever Premier League player, which they can't. So you're never going to win the battle. It's not even a battle. There is no battle.
The only way
This
it
is-
becomes an
Khalas,
interesting
Khalas.
debate.
There's a
Guys,
UN.
do you have all day? Do you have all day?
Yeah.
This is gonna go for long. This is gonna go for long.
No, because we're not going to do the.
Yeah,
All I'm going to say is
I need all day.
the debate will be more interesting once Salah's retired,
Okay, we'll see.
because everyone looked back on players who aren't in the
Question
league
to
anymore
Tom.
and are retired a lot
And
more.
bigger Liverpool legend. No, not question for Tom. Bigger Liverpool legend. Can we have Salah, Stevie convo? Rory, who's bigger legend for Liverpool?
Salah.
Dan.
Oh, I would have said Stevie.
Still.
Mate, they held
I
him at
think.
gunpoint
I
to
don't know.
stay
I
at the
don't
club.
know. I don't know. By the way, but I think because Steven Gerrard is from Liverpool, I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
feel like he might. I don't
Steven
know,
Gerrard's
Tom. You
most
know more than
iconic
me. But
moment
I
is-
would have said it's Steven Gerrard.
The problem is Steven Gerrard's most iconic moment is slipping over and letting Demba Ba in.
I don't know. I'd
And
say
that's not-
I'd say Istanbul was
I
slightly
think
more
it's-
iconic.
I would say a
I
Champions
think
League
it's
final.
Istanbul,
I think
and
a
I
Champions League
genuinely,
final.
I think it's
Yeah,
I
FA
think
Cup
Slipping over and
I
letting
think
Demba
FA
Ba
Cup
in.
Anyway,
final-
listen.
FA Cup final is huge for Gerrard.
He's one of only two players with an FA Cup final named after them. The Sir Stanley Matthews final and the Steven Gerrard final. Don't see a Thierry Henry final, do I?
He's one of the only players in the Premier League that's had like 19 teams sing a song about him as well. Like that's pretty good going.
The thing is, fuck's sake. The
Khalas.
thing is,
Okay.
it comes
We
down
have to
to
end the show. We have to end the show.
That was
Next
a
one.
Liverpool related question.
We have to end the show. Enough time. Next
Tom,
one.
is it Gerrard, by the way?
It's from Merseyside. What
Is
do you
it
think?
though? I'm really intrigued.
It's-
Is he fucking
be a-
thinking about it?
He is.
I am thinking about it because it's nuanced. Basically,
Mm,
across the
to go.
entirety of Liverpool, it's Steven Gerrard. But if you want to factor it
Mm.
down to just Premier League, it's Salah. Because Salah's
Right.
Premier League legacy is, we're talking about one of the greatest of all time here. Gerrard doesn't have a
Alright.
Premier League legacy like that. But as an overall club legend that factors in everything that you've done, it's Gerrard.
I think Gerrard does have a Premier League legacy like that, even without winning.
No,
I
he
think
doesn't.
that there is an
no,
argument.
Ger-
There is an
Ger-
argument.
Gerrard-
There is an argument to
Gerrard-
say Gerrard is
Gerrard's
Gerrard's
Rory.
Premier League
the
legacy is slipping over,
No,
getting
Rory, no.
absolutely hammered in his final game. Wow.
There is an argument to say Gerrard is
I'm being held at gunpoint by his
potentially
own fan base.
one
So
of,
what?
if not the best player to never win a Premier League. That's Gerrard's Premier League legacy. That's how. That's not a wind up, by the way. I genuinely believe that is Gerrard. Gerrard was so good that everyone says he
Anyway.
should have won a Premier League because he was
He
that good.
shoulda, coulda. R9 should have won the Champions League.
I think he has a
So,
legacy. Yeah, hasn't Ibra never won Champions League either? Did he?
Ibra
When
and
I'm-
R9 are not in the same conversation. But fine.
Gerrard has a
Oh, really?
legacy, but you've got to factor in what Salah's legacy could end up being. We're talking about a player here who, if he continues his form for the rest of the season, has the most Player of the Years in Premier League history, the most Golden Boots in Premier League history, a potential Ballon d'Or, would arguably, potentially have the scoring record back again, be the only player to ever break the goal scoring record for a single season twice. Be a guy who's top 5 all time for Premier League goals, closing in on top 10 all time Premier League assists. Like, Gerrard's legacy is fantastic, but with Mohamed Salah, we're talking about a guy who was who will be a record holder in so many key categories.
All right. Anyway, guys, Rory Talks Football. Go check Rory's videos. His Instagram, TikTok, Rory Talks Football. Same name. Fantastic. Great content. If you want to get rattled, if you're a Liverpool fan, if you're a Chelsea fan, just go. If you're an Arsenal fan, you would love it. Dan as well. Fantastic content as well, videos. And you're not going to the game tonight.
I'm not, but I'm probably going to explode if we end January with no signings.
You probably will.
You got rid of Felix. You got rid of Felix.
Yeah,
Tom,
Actually, it'd be quite a nice night tonight. If Chelsea lose to West Ham and don't sign anyone, that would be a decent little meltdown.
Yeah, it'll be a meltdown, yeah.
guys,
I'll have like a blood pressure monitor on.
100%. You're not going to lose tonight. Guys, this will take you to Hussam. Please stay here. He's talking about the title race, Nottingham Forest included. Will he have chest? I think we will all know. Will he have chest this time?
That's 7-0 on the weekend, by the way. Ooh.
Stay here. Don't go anywhere. We're out of here, people.